Welcome back, Mr. Goodberry. The First Star Logistics studio is fully equipped and ready to record.
Welcome back to Bengals on the Brain, presented by First Star Logistics. I'm your host, Joe Goodberry. Episode 135 here as we close the books on 2024. Not the season. Bengals are still alive. They beat the Denver Broncos, and that tough defense did not look very tough when you have Joe Burrow, Tee Higgins, and Jamar Chase, and even Mike Gesicki doing their thing for the whole world to watch. And I thought of a lot of things we could focus our film review on today. We will get to what it's going to be. I'm sure you probably see the thumbnail, so I'm not like keeping any secrets here, but I went through, the defense made some key plays, especially early, and then in overtime. But we focused on the defense a lot lately because they've played well. You could survive with it. They've kept their head above water. I don't want to give the defense too much credit. They've been better. They've made plays. They've created turnovers. They've gotten more pressure, which are all good things. If they had played like this all year, this team's probably in the playoffs, right? So I wanted to not focus on them because we have, even though McKinley Jackson again flashed on tape. You'll have to go on Twitter. Check me out at Joe Goodberry. You'll see those clips there. I'll make sure I post them public this time and not just for subscribers. But I wanted to go to the offensive side, and Mims didn't make it through the game. I thought, Mims is continuing to play well. We've done an episode of him versus the Steelers. And I thought, with the last game being against the Steelers, maybe we come back and revisit Mims versus Watt there if he's ready to go, if he's healthy. He only made it through 30 snaps, but he was good again. Orlando Brown Jr. had a great pass protection day, even with a broken leg, broken fibula, I think he called it after the game, told reporters. So I thought that, let's go with that. Let's do Jamar Chase versus Pat Surtain. That ended up not being as interesting as expected. So then I come away with, okay, got two options left here then. Joe Burrow, highest graded game of his career, according to PFF. I think it was the 93.6. Your season on the line against the best defense in the league that has the playoff spot you want. And it goes into overtime. And you answer and have 3 game-winning drives in regulation and overtime. Remember, because they drove down, took the lead, right? And then the Broncos convert on 4th and 1, basically a Hail Mary pass, Marvin Mims between two guys, comes down with it, sends it in overtime. Well, then he drives down in overtime, and they miss the chip shot field goal. Let's not kick ever again, right? Like for the rest of the season, let's just not kick. It's not worth it, unless you absolutely have to. So never, close enough. Let's avoid kicking. How about that? And then you get to the final drive where it's like, let's just make sure we push the ball downfield and end it with the ball in Burrow's hands and to the guy who ended up being the key contributor all day long and having maybe his best game in Cincinnati. It might be his best game in Cincinnati. I said, you know what? He finished the game with back-to-back big catches and routes and everything about it, which we'll get to. Let's focus on Tee Higgins and maybe his final game in Paycor. Maybe. Because there won't be a playoff game if they make it in as the 7th seed, right? 7th seed doesn't get a home playoff game, lowest seed. But I was thinking, what were the best moments and best games? And I remember a couple against the Ravens early in his career. I remember a 2-point conversion versus the Packers in 2021 that I thought at the moment they needed it, and T came up with that. The Vikings game last year where he reaches and Stretch Armstrong's over the goal line for a touchdown. Got the Super Bowl game, but that was in LA. I think of the Titans game where Jamar Chase was out in 2022, it had to be. And T was amazing in Tennessee down there for that game. And then I go, you know what? Because he's had a couple 2-touchdown score games, and I think both were against the Ravens. I think this is it. A 3-touchdown game and potentially your last game in Cincinnati in the clutch. Yes, he did have a fumble, and we'll look at that. That'll be part of it. How about for the film review today? Let's look at every Tee Higgins target from this last Saturday's game. Tee Higgins at the bottom of the screen here. Riley Moss is on him. Man, Riley Moss had a game. And not the way that I think Broncos fans would have liked to hear. But as Joe Burrow goes empty, and we've got a free rusher coming, the thing I love right here, first of all, way. This is a touchdown pass. He's got his hand up. That's the Randy Moss right there. Throw it. I'm already open. We're not looking that way. It's fine. Sometimes the blitz comes from this side, and you're like, all right, let me flip to the other way here because we're usually dropping coverage out the other way from the blitz, and I'll hit the option over here to the left, and he does. T throttles down really well here. I want to make sure I get that. T against Riley Moss here. Showing vertical, snaps it off. The ball's already out. Burrow's getting hit. I want to know how well Burrow is playing. The ball's already out. He's already halfway on the ground, if not on the ground already. I can't even tell where the ball is. It might be right behind this guy right here. But T comes out, breaks back towards the ball, and makes a nice catch away from the defender as the defender's slipping and can't cut with Tee Higgins. T goes out of bounds. Nice, easy completion. If you're wondering about that seam throw, though, watch it from the beginning here. This is Ja'Marr Chase. Ja'Marr would have had a monster game if we would have started the game off with this, man. Yeah, they jumped down. Oh, my. Ooh, yeah. But, for Tee Higgins and Joe Burrow, I get sometimes why we just snap to it and go to it, especially if we're expecting Ja'Marr to be doubled. And they just have a bust back there. This defense, when you start doing things and start mixing things up and you got Ja'Marr in the slot the way they do, and you're bringing out Chase Brown into the slot, defenses get a little confused. You see 6 down here. It's like, where's my safety help? Is this not cover 2? It's cover 2 without an extra safety over there. I'm sure they looked at that on the tablet afterwards and said, yeesh. Oh no, could have had that one. But again, we're focusing on Tee Higgins plays here. We get sidetracked as we do. If you're not a watcher of the First Star film breakdowns every Tuesday, then you may not understand why I get a little off track. But I do. We want to look at everyone, even though we're focusing on the Tee Higgins plays here. Tee Higgins, we got off coverage here, probably quarters, I would say, with everyone off. Easy pitch and catch, right? You want to take this guy so far off, and look how much he's bailing. I mean, Surtain is too over here. They're bailing. We're just going to hook up. We will take these easy completions to the outside all day long. Burrow sees it, reads it correctly, ball is out. The old line doesn't have to worry about their pass protection. You just got to get in your set. Ball comes out. Bang. Go pick up 8 yards out of the 10. We'll take that every single time, unless it's 3rd and 10. Clearly, we would like to throw past the sticks. But on 1st, 2nd down, the Bengals offense will hum on that. And it's a real quick read by Burrow. He sees it right away. Okay, flip, throw, ball's out. Less than 2.5 seconds. Like most of his throws are. I think he's at like 56% of his throws are under 2.5 seconds. Looked at the numbers earlier today, so I'm going off memory there. Okay, back in shotgun. We're in the goal line situation in the low red zone inside the 5. Tee Higgins comes in motion, which is key here because let me go back a little bit. I want to pause it. When T comes in motion from one side to the other, first of all, he is the number 3 here. So if you go 1, 2, 3, counting from the outside in, that's going to make really T is the slot guy. And when he comes in motion, we're going to get a defender to follow him, telling us we got man coverage. All right. Simple, very simple. So knowing that, we've got a slant flat combo. Very common combo in the NFL, and the Bengals will run this a bunch. We've got a slant by one guy. You've got a flat by the other guy. You can do this with the tight end. You can do this with a slot receiver. Doesn't matter. Slant flat. A lot of teams run this. Every team runs this. And Burrow can read very quickly if this guy is going to jump down onto Chase Brown, the inside, the middle of the field is going to be wide open. You just go to the slant. If this guy stays in the coverage instead and just hangs out there and doesn't immediately run down to Chase Brown, well, then I like my odds on Chase Brown, unless this corner is also biting on that. Then maybe you got to move somewhere else and come backside and go back to the side of the field. But it's an easy read here based on this linebacker and what he does. If he's out quickly, we're hitting that slant right away. And as you can see here, as I'm pausing it, Burrow's just now catching the snap. He's not watching the ball. He's catching it in the air and looking at that linebacker. And that linebacker is already going towards Chase Brown. So very easy for Burrow to hit that back foot. Higgins stems it out. If we want to just look at Higgins' route here as he he kind of gives a lean and then breaks inwards with his eyes snapping around, hands already out, palms already out, diamond shape. Textbook. Touchdown. Easy. And also, I would like to point out, because of Higgins going in motion and not being the number two actually got doubled over here, which is Andre Osivas. They actually left single coverage on T and Jamar Chase, very similar to how the Ravens did on that 2-point conversion at the end of the game. And we said, like, why did you end up throwing it in double coverage? Defenses try to mix it up and catch you, right? You can't always play scissors. Sometimes you got to throw a little rock in there. Watch how quickly Burrow processes, though. Watch his eyes and feet. All right, let me see it. Linebacker, bang. Easy. Ball's out. Touchdown. Shouldn't be that easy when you have Tee Higgins and Jamar Chase. But sometimes defenses, there's nothing you can do about it. And it's why you want two good receivers. It's why I want two good receivers for this offense, the way the offense functions, the way Joe Burrow functions. Burrow will take what's there that the defense gives you. I want that to be a good player if he's going to do that. All right, we're in shotgun again here. Looks like two tight ends to our left, both receivers to the right. Chase in the slot, Higgins out wide. Burrow's going to drop back again. We've got a situation here where safety's over the top, and we're running a vertical route here with an outside release. Burrow throwing it now. Like, look, the ball is right here, and we're at this situation here. You have two options when we run this. You can throw the vertical. If you feel like you're going to beat him over the top, if he's even, if T is here or better, we're going to throw this ball downfield. If T is still behind the guy, like he is here, and he's looking back already, I'm expecting this to be some type of back shoulder throw. Now, I think it is, but since I paused it here, I could be mistaken. So let's see. Back shoulder, it is. Timing, reading each other. That's not an easy read for the quarterback. From the quarterback's perspective, very often it looks like the receiver is behind the corner. So you want to go to that back shoulder. It's why you see some miscommunications at times. But from the receiver's perspective, you always think you're beating that corner down the field. So both guys have to be honest and be clear on what they see on these when you have multiple options of where I want to place this ball. Burrow and T seem to have a good repertoire with that and rarely miss. They had one last week, but I think they definitely come here, clean this one up, make sure they're on the same page, and attacked Riley Moss. Riley Moss is a good player. You wouldn't know that if this is the only Broncos game you've seen. Coming back from injury, first game back, he looked wore out. Even my wife noticed. She was like, man, they're picking on 21. I'm like, yeah. And he is stressing about it. His face was flushed and red. He was having it. We're going empty here. Again, inside the 5. We have Jamar out here. We've got Tee Higgins out here. Andre Osivas here. Looks like Drew Sample is at our tight end Y spot, and we're going to flex out and put Chase Brown in the slot. Something the Bengals have been able to do all year. Chase Brown has been so crucial in allowing them to be a little bit more flexible. Really love what he's provided. It's a shame he got injured at the end there. Hopefully he can play, get 10 more yards. He's at 990. I'd love to see him get that 1,000-yard rushing mark, even though he's at 1,350 total yards. Huge player for them this year. We're hitting Jamar in the face. We've got eyes on Chase Brown over here. And again, what do we end up with over here? How many eyes? How many guys are going to end up on Yoshi in the slot? The slot just ends up getting so much traffic and so much attention inside. All right, so Burrow's going to hit that back foot. See, it's not really there to the left. Going to work his way back to the right. And I think he had a shot here with either one of Chase spinning out and going down this backside, back end zone, or if he could have hit Higgins right when Higgins turns around and had the defender still with his back towards the quarterback, maybe it's about right there. If that ball is coming in right now, you probably could have hit this. Instead, Burrow kind of, is a little late with it. And I think this is one of his misses of the day. And when you go and you only have 10 incompletions all game long, some of them were big incompletions and weird ones. Like early, I thought Chase on a crossing route, he missed him on that. Like, man, it might have been the first drive. But then he had a couple like this that I thought were misses. But that's it. Burrow was on fire. He was dynamite again. Of course he was. Look at the pocket movement again. I just think if he could have that back, he'd probably like to give T a chance to make a play there, to go up and sky it and make a play, right? Next one is Tee Higgins' second touchdown of the game here. Out of his 3, lining up completely wide out here. Tee Higgins down at the bottom. Isolated all by himself. We've got a tight end, a wide receiver, and Jamar Chase in motion. So that's where Chase ends up. A lot of motion for Chase, trying to get him free, trying to get him in the slot this week because Pat Surtain is so good. Now you bring him over here, and I believe that's a linebacker with a safety over top. So Burrow, I think he knows right away I've got zone coverage. When you see something like that, we've got a little play action. Doesn't really do much to freeze that. But what you do get is a stop and go from Tee Higgins. If you're wondering about the route here, he's going to click, and then go to this back corner. And this thing's got to be to the back pylon. So really the stop and go is just to make this look like this might actually be a real run. Watch how delayed everyone is going to be on this. Watch how delayed Tee Higgins is going to be even on his stop. It's almost like he's coming up like he could block, and then he's going to release and go. So as we saw the play action already over here, forget about this and just try to watch Tee Higgins here and understand the timing of why the play action works here. And go. No, it's not working with me. There we go. There we go. You see that, right? You see the stemming of it and the slowdown of it all. I want to go back a little bit if I can. Watch it again in all one motion here. And Burrow's like, all right, I got to throw this to the back pylon. Just get that guy to freeze just a bit. The ball's already out again. Like, we are not waiting to see if these guys are open. We are trusting our receivers. That ball is long gone. We believe our guys are going to get open, number one. Number two, they're going to make this catch. And I'm going to try and hit this back pylon if I can, if I'm Joe Burrow. And Tee Higgins, late hands. We're going to talk about late hands on the opposite angle. I think they should give us a better idea of what we're looking at. But late hands is when I don't show the defender that the ball is coming. If the defender's got his back to the ball and back to the quarterback, he's not going to be able to tell exactly when the ball is coming. He's got an idea based on your reaction, your eyes, your body language, but your hands are the key and the last key here, because I'm going to attack your hands as a defender. If we're locked up almost eye to eye with each other and then you look up, I'm like, okay, the ball's going to come. But if you look up and you look up, then you turn and put your hands up at the last second, Moss is nowhere there. He's putting up his left hand. He has no idea where the ball is. And because of T's late hands, he catches it, turns his body to shield away from the defender. We talk about that during draft season as well. Key for wide receivers and tight ends to be able to do that. Tee Higgins does it naturally. That is a great catch. That's a good throw as well. Good design. They knew they were getting one-on-one with Riley Moss and Tee Higgins on the outside. Add a little play action to get the timing right and make sure everyone's on the same page, right? Just get the whole offense flowing, the whole play going into the same timing, which I think has been an issue at times for the Bengals. If I say time again, you're allowed to log off and stop watching. Burrow and shotgun. Tee Higgins, bottom of the screen. We're going to watch him on his full route here because I don't want to forget what happens here, because it's worth watching. Tee Higgins in the slot because we got Yoshi out wide, which is a fun way to mix it up. When Yoshi can play inside and out, which Yoshi had a good game, another good game. I think he may be a quality wide receiver 3, definitely a really good wide receiver 4. So we'll see how that mix goes with Burton and what kind of tight end the Bengals have in the future. But the versatility to put Yoshi in the slot, put him up against the line to block, put him out wide and he can win deep, that's quality to have in a backup. So it puts Tee Higgins in the slot, right? Now let's watch Tee Higgins press coverage in the slot. Focus on that. Yeah, you want to press him? Oh my. What a play. Number one. What a catch. What a throw by Joe Burrow. T getting to the open spot, understanding the coverage too. I need to go back to that because that's the other part of it. Not only does he run through the guy, but he knows he's got two. I'm going to see if I can get a good circle here. He's got this guy here. He's got this guy here in zone coverage. So as T runs through the guy covering him now, he goes, all right, I'm going to get upfield and I'm going to settle just enough between these guys as they're screaming over to try and make a play and get on it. And Burrow's got to make a really nice tight window throw here. But man, T settling in the spot here. Catch, hands catch, strong catch, goes out of bounds. I think they called him in. Doesn't matter. Wasn't in a crucial time management situation. Let's watch Burrow in the pocket here as he does this, as he's going to extend the play and then the tight window throw on this one. All right, got to move up. And as he moves up, he realizes he's moving into pressure. But again, we talked about Burrow having an average arm in a lot of ways. I think he's got great arm talent because he can throw from a lot of different angles off platform, and it doesn't really affect his accuracy. Here's an off platform throw, doesn't affect his accuracy. It affects a lot of guys that are considered pocket passers. Doesn't affect Burrow, which is one of the reasons he's kind of unique. But gaining this extra ground here, you could sit in the pocket if you're Josh Allen and you got a cannon and you can still make that throw. Burrows gains a little bit of depth. That 5 yards makes this tight window throw a little bit more manageable for him. And you'll see how tight it is right here. If I can pause it correctly when these guys are getting right on it. I don't think I can pause it correctly, but hopefully I can get it there. Let's see if I can get it. Oh, I can't get it. Slow it down fast enough. But you can see as those guys converge. Maybe I'll slow it down and put this one on Twitter because I got a lot of good editing tools for that. But that is both those guys really nice. Now this is Higgins' big mistake on the game, right? The Bengals could ice this game, put this game away with a nice drive here. Higgins at the bottom of the screen, press covered versus Surtain, which you didn't see him too often. Slow stemming his release for a slant here. So again, why I started this game talking about the slant and drag combo. Well, that's how we're going to get to this this situation here where Tee Higgins ends up fumbling the ball as he stems his inside release. He's open, right? Part of the reason that drag combo works, and if I can bring it back just enough, part of the reason that drag combo works with the slant is because it hopefully gets this defender to either go around the outside, which is tough, or if he tries to split the two of them, well, that creates a lot of separation for your slant guy. So you can read that as well and see how that guy is the depth of the way the defenders are playing it and hit your target from there, which Burrow sees. T has got the separation because the guy went through them, and even 27 knows right away. You tell me, he's like, dang, I shouldn't have done that. T has been a little bit loose with the ball this year. He's had quite a few plays that I think have been close to being ruled fumbles. This one was, as he goes for a little bit extra yardage here down the field. Surtain comes in, punches it out. Bengals cannot recover. This gives the Broncos a chance to make this a much tighter game than it should have been. And now it's 24-24 in overtime by the time we get the next Tee Higgins target. 24-24 overtime, as I said. Tee Higgins, bottom of the screen with Riley Moss on him. Burrow's making his adjustments and checks, moving Gesicki. Riley Moss backs out before the snap. We got a potential blitz on the left side. And like I said before, we started the game with it as well. We get a blitz here, and we back off here. Well, then Burrow's just going to turn away from the blitz and hit the quick comeback route to Tee Higgins. He reads it. He sees it. Even I get nervous when I see that unblocked defender coming in from the other side where it didn't look like Burrow maybe saw it. But I think he feels the rotations so well. When a blitz comes one way, you feel everyone else rotate on the other way. And if you don't see that blitz, you can at least see the way the defense reacts post-snap, and you can say, okay, I know where to go with this ball real quickly. And all this happens within 1.5 to 2.5 seconds of deciphering, understanding, being sure of what you saw, turning and throwing the ball. Solid game. We'll take 5 yards every time if we have to on first down. That is a successful play on first down. And we can watch from this angle. Does Burrow ever really see? He's looking left, like he may be thinking we got a blitz here. And he's going to move Gesicki over, which is interesting. He moves Herbert over, which is interesting because we show a lot of A-gap stuff. The Broncos were. That's why I thought when Chase Brown went down, this may be an issue. But really, when you put him up there, if you say, hey, Herbert, you take this guy. Let's not make it confusing. Karras, you take that guy. That simplifies the protection, right? And then you got him, you've got him, you've got him, and you've got him. Simple. So as long as Karras and Burrow, which they had a couple good, the sound picked it up really well, I think, on the NFL Network coverage. They were talking through a lot of their blitz pickups and saying who we got. Are we going right? Are we going left? Do I got this guy, that guy? And as long as you talk through it, it's simple for the backup guy to get in there and pick it up. And Herbert does. Ball comes out quick. And like I said, we'll take the 5 yards. So now we get in this situation where it's pretty much do or die. We need to get this ball down the field. We need to Score and win and stop messing around. Stop letting this Broncos team hang around and make miracle plays at the end of the game. Tee Higgins, bottom of the screen. You can already see a rotation here by this safety. I'm assuming we're going to get this. I don't actually know yet. But look at them. They're pressed up here. Are we going to get pressed man, which means you got man coverage with a single high safety? Bengals don't get that too often. The Broncos were willing to do it. When they have Riley Moss, they will go man coverage, and that's who's covering Tee Higgins down here. So let's see how it rotates after the snap and see what happens. Yep, looks like it. Looks like it. And we've got a slant. Just beat him off the line. 19-yard gain for T, who then again almost fumbles it again. So I don't know what's going on with T with making sure you got this ball. Make sure you got it, T. But flex on him afterwards too if you make the play. Let's go back a little bit. I want to watch his release here. The release is everything. When they come up and press and you're in man, can you gain instant separation? We're talking about big, lanky, long, strong receiver. Guys typically don't move really well when they're built like Tee Higgins, but it's just one step to the outside and then cutting it up inside. And that is enough. His body movements are very convincing for a big guy. Where if he looks like he's going outside, looks like he's going outside. Most big guys like that can't change direction. So you're going to believe as a defensive back that, oh, his first step's outside, he's going that way. And Burrow goes through the full read there from left to right to find T and hit it. This is a big play. This is one that leads to the field goal. Of course, they miss that. The Broncos then get stuffed and stopped one more time. And the Bengals are not messing around anymore. We're going to go deep to Tee Higgins. 31-yard gain down the left sideline before we come back to the touchdown play to win it. We got Mike Gesicki in the slot next to T. We have press situations again with a single high safety. You see that from the get-go. Joe Burrow sees this and goes, okay, middle of the field closed. We've talked about this how many times this year. When you got a safety in the middle of the field, that's middle of the field closed. I would like to attack these areas if I can. You're going to give me, and now Chase is in the slot, so maybe he would, break out this way. But so pre-snap, Chase is in the slot, one-on-one, Riley Moss, Tee Higgins. Where do you think they're going with the ball? Where do you think Burrow's going, like pre-snap? Like, oh yeah, if you're going to sit in that and do that, T, you better win. Give him a look and let him go. So you got to win off the release. You got to stack this corner and beat him over the top, and you got to make this catch on the sideline before that safety gets over the top and gets to you. So there's the release. Now we're over them. And we talked about this earlier too. So we're running the whole how do I want to say this? All the options they have here. So we had the slant flats. We had to show that again. We had the press situations with the single high safety. We're getting it again. And you have to decide, am I beating this corner down the sideline? Yes or no? And this time, instead of throwing the back shoulder, he is beating him down the sideline, and Burrow lets the ball rip for a huge clutch throw. And what a catch by Tee Higgins to set up our final play of the game, where the Bengals go up to win 30-24. And I think it was Ian Rappaport said that they've exhausted all their low red zone. When I say red zone, obviously that's 20 yards and in. Low red zone can be 10, 5 in. You've got tight red zone play calls. They've used them all, they said at this point. They had to draw something up based on how the Broncos were playing them in these situations, because they had so many, because they went for it on fourth down. So they're missing on first, second, third, and fourth early in the game. So they had to come back and all right, we got to draw something else up because these aren't working. Well, we got a little bit of, this is as much off coverage as you're going to get. If you look on the other side, like these guys are definitely pressed up. This corner, Riley Moss, you are too far off for Tee Higgins to toy with you and run this out route. He's really going to stem it up and look like he's going to maybe either bend it back or come and settle down. But you watch Tee Higgins at the top here. I think Moss is giving him too much space, and maybe they expected this. Maybe this is what they drew up. But with that much space and the way Tee Higgins can cut, I mean, that's ball placement by Burrow. That's timing between the two that they had all day long, and that is game over. So I guess breaking news, Tee Higgins is good, and so is Joe Burrow, right? And this Bengals offense has been fun to watch this year, and they're 8-8. have a chance to go 9-8, and we'll see if they get the help they need. It's a Saturday night game. We will have the Jake and Joe postgame show afterwards, which will be about midnight. Stay up for it. It's the end of the season. That should be a good show. First Star is giving away a custom Bengals jukebox, which that thing, let me tell you, I saw the last one from last year. Stupid in a good way. It's crazy. It would be a centerpiece. You put that when you walk into the house or into the game room or man cave or whatever you got, wherever your chill spot is. Jukeboxes for the kids or what? Never mind. Used to be an old thing where you played music at, but it's awesome. Make sure you get on that on Twitter. First Star Log. We'll have the tweet up and tell you what you need to do. We'll announce that winner. One winner, just one for this week, for the last one of the year. We'll announce that on the Jake and Joe postgame show presented by First Star Logistics. But still alive, week 18, for being 1-4 and 4-8, to still be here and still be entertaining. The frustration level with this team and wasted season potentially here. We'll see if they get to the playoffs or not. But as of now, wasted season, put that all the way up there. Fun, entertainment, this season has been that. Frustrating, yes. Entertaining, yes. And we still have it. I thought we were going to lose entertainment week 14 or so. When they lost those 3 games, Chargers, Ravens, Steelers, I'm like, that's it. Entertainment is low. Somehow they've kept it. Kept us interested. It's not what we want. It's not to the level we want. Yes, they're wasting career years by Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Trey Hendrickson. And that cannot be forgiven. And that is the topic for the offseason when we get there. But we've got one more game to go. Until then, Houday.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realized self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.